Okay, hi, I'm Tyler. I'm a sophomore at the University of Maryland studying government and politics, and I identify as African American.
Do you know what MICA is?
I don't know what MICA is. I've seen the acronym before, but I don't know what it stands for.
Okay, my name is David Garrett. I'm a junior accounting major at the University of Maryland, and I'm the first vice president of the Black Student Union.
Do you know what MICA stands for?
Yeah, it's like multicultural involvement and community advocacy, something like that.
Have you ever been to a MICA event?
I think I have because of BSU. I don't remember off the top of my head one though.
Do you know what MICA's job is with BSU?
Our advisor works in the office, Mr. Brandon Dula.
And what exactly does he do to assist BSU?
He sits on meetings. Sometimes he'll talk to the older adults, if that makes sense, to help, like, I guess, levy our ideas and stuff like that. And sometimes he'll weigh in his input, and he'll sit there and be like, wow, we do a whole lot. So it's pretty much there for, like, moral support and help out when needed.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Miles Robinson. I'm secretary for Do Better.
And you're a volunteer?
Yep, I volunteer here.
Okay. So really quickly, do you know what MICA is as an organization and what do you do?
I know it's the multicultural something. Okay, we'll work with that. That's perfectly fine, no worries. So MICA is the Multicultural Involvement and Community Advocacy. So
MICA is the Office of Multicultural Involvement and Community Advocacy, a unit in the Adele H. Stamp Student Union and the Division of Student Affairs, who stands firmly in their role to empower students through education on issues of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, religion, and their intersections. MICA also supports campus community of diversity, multiculturalism, and social justice. They also advance the purposefulness of campus climate that capitalizes on the educational benefits of diversity through student-centered advising, advocacy programs, research, and practices. Their collective work results in positive student outcomes observable in learning identity development, involvement, and leadership.
Hey, my name's Mike. I work at the MICA office. It stands for Multicultural Involvement and Community Advocacy. This is the office where students of different cultural groups are provided the opportunity to meet and collaborate on different initiatives that deal with their involvement areas. Right now we have 8 different issue areas that pertain to Asian and Pacific American students, Black students, Latino students, LGBT students, American Indian students, biracial, multicultural students, Middle Eastern students, and students of interfaith beliefs. And this is the lounge area. We have a limited amount of space, but just enough space where groups can actually come in and have their meetings, their GBMs, and have discussions.
Yes, I'm Brandon Dewey. I'm Assistant Director for MICA. So how MICA is part of the STAMP and is organized. The STAMP has 4 units, and is a director of the STAMP, and just 2 associate directors, and then there are assistant directors who oversee areas. And so I oversee MICA. And the STAMP also has an area for leadership, one for programs, and then one for activities. And I simply supervise 3 full-time staff and 1 graduate student at this point in time. And then each of the 3 full-time staff that I supervise also supervises a graduate assistant. And so
Okay, so after doing some organizing through social media, it's something that was an interest of mine. So about a year and a half when I started in my position here, I brought up the idea of developing a policy for our office and kind of been the person heading that up through the last several months.
Okay, so do you feel like flyers as these right here are more beneficial in reaching students rather than like the I guess, the online technologies like Instagram and Facebook?
I think it depends. I think the initial outreach, I always tell people the flyer is helpful because it has an image attached. Because what I tell people when I do my trainings, for example, for Twitter, is one of the most likely things for someone to actually read your tweet and click on something is if it has something attached to it.
Right.
So people tend to not, like, I have maybe 300 students that will come out to an event, but there's still like more than 2,000 other Latinos on campus that probably don't know I'm here.
Right.
So how do we figure out how to reach them? And one of those conversations has been like building the audience as part of the process, especially with social media. Like I was talking to one of our interns actually earlier.
How do you think like communication works within MICA? Like I know there's you, and then there's Brandon above you, and then you have your student organizations underneath you. So like, how do you think like information kind of trickles down?
I think it depends on the issue. I think there are definitely moments where the communication goes both directions. So an example is if there's an event happening on campus or something that happened on campus that students are discussing on the front level, that usually goes the opposite direction where they'll tell me and then I'll share with Brandon, like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what people are talking about. Maybe this is something we should be paying attention to. As far as going the opposite direction, I feel like that's usually more policy-related things. So for a lot of it, since there are 13 Latino organizations, I end up communicating with their exec boards. There are some organizations that are smaller that I'll go to their meetings so that their overall membership knows who I am and like they know they can come to my office. So it's not necessarily just directly through the organization that we're relaying information back and forth. It's also individuals just coming into my office and talking about things.
Do you think like there's some
What does the logo mean?
So the logo that we currently have that's probably going to be redone is this stamp connected through waves to MICA, which kind of stands for the fact that we are within the stamp and a part of the stamp, but are focused in diversity and a variety of different populations, which is why there's different colors for each of the little wavy bands that connects us between our office and MICA. Those kind of represent different communities that we have on this poster that focus on not only race and ethnicity, but also spirituality, sexual orientation, gender, and so on.
How does MICA incorporate their mission statement into the events like that you host, like the movie screening that you all had a couple weeks ago?
I think it depends on the event. One of the ways I think it's incorporated into the events is having the variety of events. So, as I was mentioning a couple minutes ago, one of the things is there's always something happening that's related to MICA. That's one of the ways in which I think we exemplify our mission, is the fact that we have such a variety of events that we kind of...
Our group had the privilege of attending an LSU event that was co-sponsored by MICA. While we were at the event, we were able to see how the MICA staff interacted with students and spoke to them about what MICA is and what MICA does. The event that we attended was called Cena Familiar, which was a promotion of Latin culture and food, in addition to raising awareness on the process of gaining citizenship and how it can be difficult for Latino and Southern American people immigrating to this country. The event also had a raffle for Starbucks and various other gift cards, whose proceeds went to funding literacy and citizenship classes. We believe that these types of events should be fun, however they should also be informative, not only on issues of immigration into this country, on how MICA aims to assist in the facilitation and understanding of how this relates to students.
How does MICA and how do you guys, interact to disseminate that information to, the members that come to these events who might not know what MICA does?
What do we do? Well, we kind of do the same job as they do. We pretty much spread the word about our culture or society, and so we kind of do that throughout our events, and that's how we kind of help out with that. Not entirely sure how we
work to help increase social change on campus, and they help student organizations. So just a question that I have to you is, at this event, did you see MICA present there? How did they, facilitate this event?
I didn't really see MICA. Me personally, I didn't see them facilitating the event. I wasn't sure who was a part of it and who wasn't. I can't really answer answer that.
Okay, so like I said, MICA is a social change organization who aims to help students become more culturally aware and accepting. So with that being said, how do you think that they should disseminate, some of their information at events like this?
I don't know. I think it's kind of difficult because you don't want to take over the event. You still want to have some kind of advertisement.
Yeah.
47% of Americans learn about social causes via social media and online channels. The Human Resources Frame refers to how people, more specifically members, are the center of every organization, and the leadership should actively evaluate if the needs of the org are being met. Not communicating effectively on an external level with MICA and the target audience defeats the purpose of the org, which is to advocate and support multicultural students. As Yvette said earlier in the video, she could host a Latina student involvement program and 300 will show up. However, there's still about another 2,000 students who aren't aware of the event and that she has her services. I suggest that MICA get an Instagram for visual perception, obtain a listserv and send it out to all executive boards through email, and update their Twitter and Facebook followers to have more than alumni and other organizations on campus. Overall, MICA does a great job at reaching its target audience, but should hone in on expansion via social media.
In the symbolic frame, we examine shared beliefs, goals, and objectives which penetrate every facet of the organization. We believe that MICA is successful in promoting its mission statement at their events and programs. However, we recommend that MICA incorporate its mission statement better on its social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. And in doing so, they can post and tweet about current issues in the world as they relate to the mission statement. And that way, students will be informed about current events on diversity and multiculturalism and social justice.
When talking about structural configurations, MICA is a divisionalized organization, and as Bowman and Deal said, the bulk of their work is done in quasi-autonomous units. Our book also says that each division serves a distinct market and supports its own individual functions. Putting this in conjunction with MICA would translate to mean that each coordinator advises their own student involvement groups and supports their individual needs. MICA's use of the divisionalized form is effective for the organization because it allows everyone to oversee exactly who they need to oversee without the need to go to the very top or the very bottom of the hierarchy. To put that into an example, think of if Marcia was to have a proposal to alter the student involvement suite. Ultimately, it would affect the students in the individual organizations, but instead of her communicating directly to them, she would speak to other people, such as the coordinators, who would then speak to the students, and whatever they would discuss would then be given back to Marcia.
Through reading Bowman and Deal's Reframing Organizations, we have seen that through the political frame, an organization's internal interactions with each other and their external interactions with their constituents is imperative to their success. In terms of MICA, we asked executive board members of student organizations that MICA advises how MICA interacts with them and aids them in their events. From the feedback that we heard, students on the executive board of student organizations knew what MICA was. However, they were not sure how MICA could aid them in their events and in promoting social change. One of the issues that came up is that there is a lack of presence from MICA at student organization events, which hinders the dissemination of information about MICA and their staff to the general student body and people at said events. My recommendation is that MICA's executive board members and graduate assistants should be more engaged and interactive at student org events in order to promote knowledge of MICA and its mission. By increasing MICA's presence at these events, it will allow students greater access to MICA through these extensions and has the potential to increase social change on our campus.